Eagle has landed.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast with Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
Oh yeah, welcome back to the show. This is American Slacker Podcast. As always, I'm Matt.
And in the ring with him is myself, Jesse, and joining us is our guest, Cory Kastle, actor, wrestler, comedian, all-around great guy. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks a lot, man. You know, let me just give you a little piece of advice from somebody who is a podcaster myself. Okay. You say the things first, then you say the name.
Yeah, you know, I like to trip them up. I keep them guessing.
Keep them guessing.
I'm just messing around. No,
that's how you take the fucking strong point behind them. Get that wrap around with your arm.
But yeah, thanks so much for having me on, dude. We didn't even do anything on the podcast yet, and I'm already having a great time. So,
oh, dude, pleasure is all ours. Yeah, and if you're, dude, check out the Patreon if you want to check out the fucking hour-plus conversation. We've been chilling and talked about so many great things already, including your film, Bruce, which was awesome. We're gonna get to as well.
Yeah, we had a little viewing of that at the top of our little conversation here, and that was fantastic.
Oh, you're gonna put that on the Patreon too?
Well, not your film, just the conversation, but we'll link it out. Yeah. We're not trying to get sued by you guys. It's like one.
We know you got the big bucks to come after us.
Well,
so.
I'd hope the views go up. So if the views won't go up on the video, if you show the whole video on the
right. No, we're sending them straight to the source. So we've been talking a lot in terms of like the stuff that you do. You're on two different podcasts. Tell us a little bit about those shows.
So the first podcast I was on, we're in our 6th year, I believe. It's called Rassle Rock, RASSLE Rock, and it's me, my best friend Rick, and Rick Connor. He also has a YouTube page. He like shoots and edits all this indie wrestling. So he has like early matches of so many people who are like somebody now, but like Rick has been shooting indie wrestling for like over 10 years and editing. So on his YouTube channel, it's Rick Connor. He has tons of indie wrestling stuff. I know there's like an old Adam Cole match on there, old Drew Gulak matches on there. There's like old matches of me, like from me when I was really young. So you'll probably find those on YouTube if you're trying to look me up, but none of that is representative of who I actually am right now as a wrestler, because that stuff's bad. Very
You've grown a lot.
There's a lot of it, and it's not good. Anyway. But we've been doing Wrestle Rock. We started doing it. He was a student at the Cherry Hill campus of Connecticut School of Broadcasting. So he was like, hey, we have this opportunity to rent out a studio space. So even before that, we started doing a podcast. We were doing a podcast that was just a comedy hangout, kind of like what you guys do. Nice. But it was called Pod Trash, where it was me, Rick, and our friend Matt Flowers. And it was just us talking about like movies and wrestling and comedy and all this stuff. And then we just kind of like stopped doing it. Like our availability wasn't working out, and we just kind of faded away from doing it. And then when Rick started going to CSB, he was like, hey, I have this opportunity to do a studio space. And we were like, yeah, let's do more of a wrestling like niche, you know? So we started doing it, and we were able, like, after we got out of the studio, we went to a different studio that wasn't CSB. So it was an actual like radio studio where we could have like guests come in, and it kind of got a little bit easier as far as like the availability, because like with the CSB studio, we could only get it like on Saturday mornings or something like that. And we're like, we can't have guests come in here on Saturday mornings. But like with the studio, it's more flexible. We could do whatever. And that's kind of what's made like COVID better, is like we can have more access to guests and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, they're California not doing shit
in Florida.
I mean, they're stuck at home. Like, what else are they doing? Come on our show.
You got no excuses. So we're writing you. You're going to come on the show now. That's how we write our messages to the guests nowadays in COVID.
It's been working out.
Dude, every time. We got you, didn't we?
Aim high. Aim higher than me, please.
Don't treat yourself so low, baby.
But I'm on the come up. I hope I'm on the come up. But anyway, we were doing that for so long, and we like the limitation was that we had an hour to talk about wrestling. So I'd always be thinking of other things, and I'd want to like talk more like character development in who I actually am. But I knew it didn't fit inside of that. Mix that with the fact that I was listening to some great podcasts that inspired me, like WTF with Mark Maron and You Made It Weird, Pete Holmes, Duncan Trussell, Family Hour, Joe Rogan. Like all those podcasts were kind of inspiring me to like kind of do my own thing. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own thing. And the funny thing was I was a guest on somebody else's podcast. It was like an internet radio studio that was like around the corner from where I live. And I was like, hey, how much do they charge you for studio time? And the girl was like, nothing. Well, you want to start a show? And I was like, yeah, I want to start a show. She's like, what do you want to do with it? And I like kind of explained to her what I had in my mind to start a show. And she's like, perfect. I'll set up for you to meet the guy. And then you guys will start. So like it started where every Monday I was in a radio studio doing my show, but then the same thing I was talking about, where the limitations of like, you have to 9:00 on Mondays. That's the only time I can get guests. So like sometimes people couldn't drive to Langhorne to come be a guest on my show. But then when it came to like me doing it from home, it opened up possibilities so that I could be joined by more guests. So I started in 2017 evolving with Cory Kastle. And at this point, I'm 208 episodes in.
Damn, dude. That's a lot of podcasts.
That's a good mark.
Under your belt, man. There.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man. And I've listened to quite a few of your conversations, and they're fun, man. You're getting perspectives from people. You know, you bring on a greater variety of guests, just like we do, to pick the minds of like whoever you have on. And I've just got to say, man, giving that perspective to people is very important. It's a cheesy line like Rogan puts out all the time, is like, when do you get to sit down with somebody for a couple hours and actually sit there and have a conversation and let it take its place to wherever it goes? But like, dude, that's so real. Like, and again, if a lot of people are out there living very limited perspective lives, like where they're not having these conversations with people. So if they get to eavesdrop to that, that's fucking so valuable.
Well, I think the main perspective for me on that is like, how often are you bored? You're never really bored. You can always look at your phone. You can always do something. So like, how often is it like, well, what's the answer to this thing? Well, I'm going to Google it real quick. There's like an itch for every, a scratch for every itch these days. Like as soon as you get it, let it itch for a minute. So when it comes to having these conversations, you don't really get a whole lot of this with just people. You know what I mean? Like you can't discover the origins of somebody who's barely paying attention to a thing you're saying, or the difference between empathy and sort of like apathy is such a wide range that people don't really have empathy anymore because they're so used to being apathetic. They're so used to being just like, well, this is what life is. This is what I got to do. This is, like the daily grind of it.
From the guests that you've had on, have you noticed them like opening up more and showing that more empathetic side on your show?
Just the guests? Well, the thing about it is, I think what's most important to me is kind of getting friendships from it, like becoming friends with people who, like, I wouldn't have ran into you like doing HVAC work. I wouldn't know what your perspective is. I only know the things I know. I don't know beyond that. So why not try to learn beyond that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and having the willingness to change your mind is a big thing too. A lot of people get stuck in the way, like you're saying. So like having that you got to unlock the ability to be able to change as well, which is weird about that.
A thing I frequently say is I think that a lot of us are we're creatures of habit. And the habit that we all find ourselves in is that we are reacting to things. We are in the routine of it. The program is like, I know how to act. I know how to act based off of reacting to what the world is that presents itself to me. I think enough people are so used to that not enough people are intentional. Like they really go out of their way to create their existence. So I like to call myself an intentional creator in my existence. And I want that to be the attitude, to be open to evolving, to be open to having a new perspective that I would have known previous.
Do you see that taking any sort of root in like your comedy? Or do you approach that from a totally different angle?
Let me tell you a funny story. So I had like stopped doing comedy for a couple months. Then when I started my podcast, I started like kind of changing my mind about like perspectives in the world and stuff like that. And I had some bits that were like, I'll tell you what the bits are. So I had I was just like, the bit was like, I said something about, I said like that there was a lion who there was like one of those drive-through safaris, and the lion had opened the back door and pulled the kid out and killed the kid. And we didn't hear about that. I don't know where that was, but I don't think it was around here, because around here, when people see Africans, they lock their doors. That was the bit I did. And
yeah,
I got off stage, and the girl who followed me was like, all right, everybody give it up for everyone give it up for racist Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
She said that to me. Or she said that about me. And I was like, am I that? I thought it was more evolved. Like somebody I didn't mean it to sound, it was just a play on the lion being African. It wasn't oh man. Like, and I started like going back over like, oh, I got to make sure I kind of change my comedy. And I don't want it to be misrepresenting me as being something that I'm not. I want it to be exactly who I am. So I'm kind of a silly goose. Let me throw some silly gooseness in there. So I want to throw the perspectives in, but make sure that I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, because it's one thing to make a bunch of people laugh. They're laughing with me, not at somebody else. I don't want anyone to laugh at somebody else. I don't want to make somebody feel victimized from.
Oh yeah. That's not the goal of comedy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's,
exactly.
dude, that's evolution again, dude. Like you literally, you took the point, you realized you had a limited perspective at a moment, and then boom. Oh, it triggered something to change that, I
mean, I still think it was a good joke. I just don't want to hurt somebody's feelings with that.
Yeah,
I think it was a mix of like a couple bits that I did that were kind of racially something. It was just like, because I knew those ones got reactions. So I was hitting mics and clubs and stuff where people were like not reacting to stuff until I hit them with something that made them react. So I was just trying to get reactions, and it was like, I don't want people to groan at me.
Yeah. That's part of that evolution, that like taking it in, learning from the experience type of thing, and not pointing it back and being like, everyone in this room is wrong. Yeah. I'm the one who's right. I mean, that's what gets you into a sticky scenario.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing, I use the same aim on like joke thieves. Right. So another comic friend was talking to me about like somebody stealing one of their jokes. I was like, as he was telling me about it, I was like, the joke wasn't even that good anyway. Just write something new. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter if the joke's good or not. I always can write new jokes. Like that's the way I looked at it. And I was like, oh, if somebody steals one of my jokes, good for you. Hope it does well for you. I got other stuff. My brain's big enough to come up with other jokes. That same thing we were talking about, like starting a podcast. If you do it and you're successful, I'm happy. I'm happy for you and your success. And you know what? If one of my jokes got you successful, cool. If I inspired you and you were successful in some way or the other, then I'll feel like I might have accomplished something cool. Like I'm not going to wrap up in like, that was my joke. Oh, come back and pay me all the credits.
Yeah, it's a tough claim in that case. I mean, with a podcast, I would say like it'd be hard for someone to replicate what you do or what Matt and I do. When it comes to those ideas, it's also a little amorphous in the sense of like, you know, depending how you preface or how you structure the format of that joke, it could be literally the same thing that they're laughing at said with different words. So like how it is definitely a fine line. I see why people get upset about it because like, in a sense, it is like their intellectual property in a way. They came up with it, but how many other people are experiencing that same thing? How many New York City comics have fucking jokes about pigeons being everywhere or something? You know, I mean, there's only so many ways you can kind of go with that.
Well, I'm very much like, I think premises and the idea of jokes are very inceptual. So like a premise, you could maybe you stole it, but maybe you heard something and you went like, and it just filed itself in the back of your head and you're like, you know what, I can maybe give that a better twist. And like later you think of it and you write it down and you think you came up with it when really it was like, maybe it was somebody else's premise.
And how many of us are watching and listening to the same things on a daily basis? Yeah. So, and living in the same city and sort of, or same area and having the same sort of perspective on it. Right. At this point, it's almost like whoever gets the tweet out first in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And I mean, even in our show,
good for me, I only have like 500 followers on Twitter. I put lots of jokes on there and nobody cares.
What's you plug it? Let's get it.
At Cory Kastle.
There you go.
CoryKastle.
Nice.
I put so many jokes up there and nobody follows me, so it doesn't matter. But
are you hashtagging?
You know what? I don't want to have to like. I don't want to have to like take all these extra steps.
It sucks, man. It does.
That's how people find you, though, man. Come on.
it's their rules. We're playing their game.
Yeah,
I've been calling these rules the algorithm and blues.
That's a great song. I can't wait to hear it.
It's like, bro, I already put out 2 different podcasts that like nobody's listening to. And I already put out all this stuff that like maybe nobody cares about, but maybe one person cares about it. Maybe it helps somebody. Maybe, and I say this about my podcast, even like I'm going to continue to do it until I'm dead. It's evolving with Cory Kastle. So when you stop evolving, you stop living. Like, so for sure, I'm going to continue to do it until I'm dead. So if I die and you can go back, let's say another 40 years to listen to a podcast, you can listen to every episode of a podcast for 40 years. And if you catch something out of that, if in that 40 years, nobody's listening to it and I'm doing it anyway, if after I pass away, people are like, oh, I wonder what this guy's really like, go back, listen to the podcast, catch some cool life lessons, catch some cool perspectives, catch some cool ways to change how to redefine what you consider the next level is. Because maybe the next level isn't about getting more followers. Maybe the next level is about not caring about your followers. Maybe the next level is not wrapping your value up in something that doesn't have any value.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I had a conversation with my fiance the other day, just in terms of like, I was saying like, I enjoy creating things. I enjoy creating the podcast, making graphics, making funny fucking songs with my co-host here. And like, what I don't enjoy is marketing and advertising, because I know that it's all just fucking brain trickery and that it's all just like hucksters trying it's con men trying to trick you into buying shit. It's trying to trick you out of your money into like their pocket, essentially. Do you necessary at some point.
Watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just slavery with extra steps.
Yeah, I mean, you blow it up and you follow the fucking money.
But,
I mean, but at the same time, like doing something like a podcast, it's a weird situation that we're in where, like, yeah, if you don't hashtag, someone might not see your shit. If you don't put out that clickable link to get people looking at it, you may not get those. And I mean, you have a point in terms of like that does feed into that instant gratification kind of that everyone seems to have.
I have to admit something about myself that I don't think I've ever admitted on anything.
Exclusive.
But, I'm not saying this about myself, sure, but I get the perspective might be, or the perception might be, that I'm in amazing shape and I'm good looking and I'm funny and all that stuff. I get.
Oh, we said we weren't gonna fucking brag here, dude.
I qualified it by saying might. That might be the case.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Might not
big old honky. I get it. Okay. All right.
So either way, I have a humongous
penis
amount of self.
Oh, damn.
How are you going to do him dirty like that, man?
I'm so sorry.
I'm pouring my heart out to you, being as vulnerable as I could possibly be, and then you just throw your penis at me.
Dude, I didn't mean to throw it at you. It's just it's out there, all right, dude? People have seen it before.
Is it because you have underwear with a pee-pee hole in it? Dude,
we were talking about this earlier. Yes, that's an important subject.
It's a very important subject. Anyway, I have a tremendous amount of what do I deserve all the good things that I have? Like, am I without being grateful for all of the things that I do have, how do I get more? And I have a tremendous amount of, like, have you guys ever heard of like imposter
syndrome?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome. Yeah. I have that so hard. Like when I go, well, I'm getting paid to do this. Oh, am I worth the amount of money I'm asking for? Like that messes me up, man. And that, like, I don't know, I'll leave it and they'll be like, oh, good job, Cory. Here's your money. I'm like, do I even deserve this? Should I take it? Like, I'm like, whoa, I wasn't as funny as I should have been. I didn't do as much. I didn't get as much laughs as I should have. Like, I have that inside of me. And like, when it goes like to talking about how smart I might be, I'm like, well, I was in special ed from 4th grade up until I graduated high school. All the kids in school just called me retard. They threw that word at me real hard.
Damn.
So I mixed that with, like, I wore big, thick glasses and I had stupid hair and I was skinny fat. So I have body dysmorphia, mixed the body dysmorphia with the ADD that put me in SPED, then the abuse from people. So that abuse came through where I'm like, okay, I have all this cool stuff, but like, do I deserve it? And then I have that like battle back and forth. Like, I think more and more lately, I have like nerves and anxiety that I haven't had for a long time. But I for sure am willing to talk about them and evolve through them.
Well, acknowledgement, I mean, is the big thing, man. Like in taking that self-registry to understand like what you're going through, speaking about it alone is the biggest thing.
I think that, I think my community is such a niche community that we're underrepresented. Sure. I think these hunky man bun funny guys, there's not enough of us represented on TV.
I thought you meant wrestler, comedian, podcasters.
Yeah. There's not. Where are we? I'm the only one. You'd think my following would be
well, it's you and Zach and Miko. Let's give
dude. Let's be real, dude. That's a big old hunk right there, dude. We know he's got a big old peen. So, shout out to Zach and Miko. We love you, dude.
Yeah. Sure. Zach and Miko, love the guy.
We love you too, dude. Calm down. You don't need to get all hasty over here.
No, but I'm very. I don't know. You said you listened to some episodes of my show.
Yes, sir. What's he doing?
Start every episode of the show with the drum.
Dude, started it out. Yeah.
I wondered if
I thought you were just banging on the mic, dude. I thought you were just like
No, the reason I started with this drum is because this is as consistent as I plan to always be. Where it's like, I'm going to continue to do the things that I do the way I do them. And maybe no one cares yet, but one day they'll be like, "Did you hear that drum?" This is actually,
I love the drum.
And I'm probably misquoting this, but it was something that Conan O'Brien said to Pete Holmes, where it was like, you keep hitting that triangle, like bing, 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 and you keep hitting that triangle the way you hit it. And then someone go, "Do you hear that binging? Do you hear that?" That's like I feel about my voice and about my message. And I feel like if I just stay consistent with it, and that's why I really took to making sure I schedule my podcasts to come out the same time, the same day, every week. Because it's like part of that persistence, that consistent, absolute, like it's reliable. It's reliable. And it's as reliable as me being exactly who I say I am, which I'm not saying I'm anybody. I'm just saying I'm me. I'm the only me I know how to be. And you're the only me you know how to be. And she's the best me she knows how to be. Because absolutely everything that you've done in your life, you got something out of it.
True.
So I can complain like, oh, I've been given my entire life and business, my life and career and body, and like holidays, birthdays, Christmases, weddings, funerals, missed them all for most of my life because of wanting to pursue the passion that is my pro wrestling career. And my pro wrestling career has never earned me a dime. But I learned a lot of lessons in that. I learned a lot about respect and honor. And I learned a lot about like storytelling. And I learned a lot about character and like people's reactions to things. Like that stuff's more valuable sometimes than like wrestling in front of 30,000 people in a stadium and making six figures. Like, yeah, I might continue making $10 an hour for the rest of my life. But as long as I'm genuine with my message and consistent with what it is, I hope that makes other people feel like, oh, as bad as it is, it's not that bad. I can be grateful for all the things that I've got, all the lessons that I've learned, because look what he's been through. Like I say all the time, dude, when I say ADD and the all the body dysmorphia and all the self-worth and imposter syndrome, mix that with brain surgery, mix that with bad eyesight, mix that with like any issues that I might have about myself, and like, getting through eating disorder and getting through all that stuff, just to then still be like, you know what, all these positive things that can come out of all of that, all the lessons that can come out of all of that, and all the fun times and all the dumb jokes and all like just the silly gooseness that can come out of all of that. And still, it's when I talk about any of it, I always go, it's still just the beginning. It's still just the beginning, because when I talk about my life, I don't talk about anybody's life. And if you hear my podcast, Evolving with Cory Kastle, you hear me talk about this a million times. Let's say your timeline, birth to death, let's say ideally 100 years. Here's where you're born. Here's where you die. Okay. You have a relationship that lasts 10 years and it ends terribly. That's still just a little blip. You know what I mean? Fraction. It's not that you still got all this other life to live. You got all this other life. So I feel like I've said this tons of times. When someone talks to me about something and then they describe it as something that ruined their life, like, it ruined what your idea of life is. You still have plenty of life. It ruined an idea, but it didn't ruin your life. Your life isn't ruined till it's over. You got plenty of life left.
Yeah, I mean, that hyperbole can leak into the actual, reality of how people think. I think too. Saying like if you say your life is ruined, then like you're almost subjecting yourself to that as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, the mindset, man, creates the pain, really.
Not that you can think your way out of like getting caught by Jigsaw and being put in a Saw movie or something, but like,
well, I think
if you get a fender bender, it's not gonna.
I say this is going to sound pretty far fetched, but when somebody says to me like, "Oh, it's just my luck that this happened," and like, "Oh yeah, of course it went shitty because everything always goes shitty for me," like you're used to that mindset, and exactly what you think is what's going to happen. You're expecting that result. So if you don't expect that shit result, you're not going to get that shit result. Like if you expect fun, you expect good, and you expect like you expect nothing but continuing to be a deliberate creator in your existence, you're also being a deliberate creator in the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta like take yourself out of that victim role, because you're a victim to bad luck. That means the force is outside of you. The bad luck is you. The bad luck is in your head. It's not in like, oh, well, of course this happens. That kind of stuff always happens to me. Like
those are the things you're noticing. As well, I'm sure it's kind of the mindset of like, if I tell you you're going to see a cheetah today, like, does it make me a psychic if you go and see a cheetah? No, it's probably just because you were primed to kind of,
see that. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
We're all used to living in this program that we're going to see what we expect to see because we saw it yesterday.
Yep.
We saw it yesterday. So of course we're going to see it today. It's like, zoom out of it and go, you know what? This has been a pattern. And maybe I can do something to change this.
True. Yeah.
This is saying I say all the time, not just on my podcast. I say it everyday life. I picture it like a wheel game, like Wheel of Fortune, right? But I call it the accountability wheel. Each one of those lines has something that you can blame for what your problems is. And your name on that accountability wheel is thinner than all the other things. You spin that accountability wheel, and if it doesn't land on your name, continue to spin it. Because you're the reason for all
blame absolutely everyone till you land on you.
Yeah.
That's a fucked up version of Wheel of Fortune, man.
It's accountability Wheel of Fortune.
Everyone's winning except you.
There's no fucking Savannah White, damn it, dude. This is lame.
Oh, speaking of games, we have 2 games.
Oh yeah.
That we were interested in playing with you here. Matt, which one should we start off with?
Start off with the one you created.
The one I created? Okay.
Yeah.
So this one we're gonna call Wrestler or Castle. All right. Since you are a wrestler and your last name's Castle, we thought you might be, pretty good at picking out.
I might be the most qualified.
Yeah, we figured you're the guy.
We figured. Yeah.
So I'm going to zoom in as much as I can onto a picture that I pulled off the internet. And you're going to tell me whether or not.
Are they all pictures of me?
No.
Could be.
Maybe.
That would be
Could be.
Maybe I lied.
All right, maybe.
So I'm going to share my screen here. I don't want to give it away because I did name the files so I can tell you what they are. Okay.
That is your logo for your show.
Perfect. That's what you should be seeing.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. You got that first one. So here you go. This is your first one.
Ooh.
Very pixelated. It's an old picture. It's not an old wooden ship.
Ooh.
Oh.
I got an assumption, but I don't know.
So what do you believe that this is?
I'm going to guess this is only based on the colors.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
The wide spectrum of colors that it's a wrestler.
Okay. Let's see.
You're right. Baby. We were talking about botches earlier. This is the one that I was referring to.
Shock ya.
Dude, he's going to shock it, baby.
This is the shock master, Matt. You want to talk a little or
man. Cory can. Yeah, Cory knows the story, so he can get it.
Okay. I love this guy.
Yep.
This man, Fred Aubin. His name's Fred Aubin.
Yep.
In the business, everyone calls him Uncle Fred because he's actually married into the Rhodes family. His ex-wife was Dusty Rhodes' sister.
Yep.
So, he the whole thing, and you probably might have heard the story. Dusty Rhodes tells it on like the Legends Roundtable, where he says, "Oh, is that Uncle Fred?" Like falling through the wall. But the thing is, like, I had an amazing conversation. Well, it was a documentary that I was working on where we had a sit down interview with Fred Ottman, and he said some amazing things on it. And the things that stand out the most to me was he said, if anybody guarantees you anything in this life, they're more full of shit than a Christmas turkey.
I like that saying.
I bring that with me everywhere I go. And he did it in a Macho Man Randy Savage impression, because he said that Macho Man said that to him on his first day of the WWF.
Oh, some Macho Man fucking advice for life there.
Yeah.
Anybody guarantees you anything in this business, they're more full of shit than a Christmas turkey.
Let's see if you can tell whether or not I'm full of shit with this next one. All right. Tell me whether or not this. Oh,
Careful there.
Is this a castle or a wrestler?
It looks like a Minecraft.
I'm gonna say White Castle.
You're gonna say White Castle? This is a White Castle. This is a White Castle, Nyack, New Jersey.
I'm gonna say that's also a wrestler, because that seems like a skin tone to me.
All right. Well, I tricked you.
You're
You're looking at Alhambra in Spain.
Skin-colored castle.
That's beautiful. Yeah, the sun was kind of reflecting off the brownstone there.
All
right. You know much about
1-1.
Alhambra? Do you any stories about Alhambra?
The ECW arena from like 2004 to like 2006 was named the new Alhambra Arena. They like changed the name of the building.
What the fuck?
and no one knew what the fuck it meant and why they changed it. Like, why not just continue to call it Viking Hall? It was like this guy owned it and like changed the name of it. And he like, I don't know if you guys know the building ECW Arena in South Philly.
Yeah, Philly, yeah. I do.
It was called Viking Hall for like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the Mummers, the Vikings, the South Philly, you know, the Mummers Day Parade, like the New Year's Day Mummers in Philly. It's like these guys all get these costumes and they practice a dance routine and playing instruments and stuff. So the one group is called the Vikings, and they would use that building, the 2300 Rittner Street. It was on the corner of Swanson and Rittner in South Philadelphia. And now the name of the building is 2300 Arena. But for a while, for some damn reason, it was called the new Alhambra Arena, and I have no idea.
Interesting. I didn't expect that. That was
never expected that.
Fantastic. You are full of surprises, sir. All right, let's see if you can get this next one.
You didn't think I'd have a story for Alhambra?
No, I didn't. You got me on that. All right. I don't want to show you the name of the thing. There we go.
This is a castle, Frank Castle. Also known as
looks like a Pokemon ball.
Yeah, this one's a colorful one.
It does look like a Pokeball.
I'm going to say that's a castle.
I say that's a castle. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. That is Hulkamania.
Oh, baby. What you going to do now, brother? What you going to do now, brother?
It could have been a banner. It could have been a banner on a castle.
It's like, oh my God. It's like, say your prayers and take your vitamins. And that was older Hulk Hogan. So that was when his catchphrase turned to say your prayers and take your Metamucil, stay regular.
Hey, Pepto-Bismol. I think that's what he finished it with, right?
He's like, nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
You know, I can see him doing those now. Yeah, brother. All right, let's get another one going here. I'm gonna zoom in. This'll be a fun one.
All right.
Minimize it a little bit here.
That's a person.
That's a nipple. 100% a nipple.
Is that
That might be a chode. I don't know.
Bro, I'm scared. I'm scared of seeing whatever this is.
So what's your guess?
It might be something I don't want to see.
Playgirl, baby.
The wrestler. No, Castle. No, it's a wrestler.
Oh, no wonder you couldn't see it.
Oh, that was what I was going to say. That same joke.
We're looking at John Cena's nipple. That's exactly what that was. We'll take your first guess on that.
I said on stage the other night. I was like, "Any of you guys wrestling fans?" And like somebody said something, and I was like, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" I was and I was like, I made some dumb joke about John Cena, and I forget what it was. Damn it! I almost got another laugh out of that. Tried to squeeze another laugh out of that here on the podcast.
Try to churn it too much, man.
But I bombed. I went to the well one too many times.
All right, we got 3 more here for you.
Well, more like unwell.
Ooh,
what are we looking at here? Is this a wrestler or a castle?
That's a castle, bro.
I think because this is a castle. This is Edinburgh Castle.
No hiding
Scotland.
Yeah, dude.
That one looks like a Bruce Manor or Wayne Manor.
Yeah. Give us a story on this now.
Anything for Scotland?
Edinburgh?
So
you wrestled a man once there in the corridor.
I'm going to say no.
Damn.
But wait, you know what? Let me think about it. Because when I think of Edinburgh, I think of Kevin Smith because I used to be, before podcasts were a thing, I used to listen to tons of like director's commentary and Kevin Smith had he had DVDs out called like An Evening with Kevin Smith. Do you guys remember this?
Oh yeah.
And one of them was from Edinburgh and
Fringe Festival
pronunciation of Edinburgh.
Oh yeah.
And then they did a thing where he was like, what is your favorite thing to say? Like, to paraphrase, like, let's have sex. And then some lady screamed from the crowd, can I have a portion?
Not the whole thing.
Can I have a portion of your
just a portion?
Ding.
Just a tip. Just a tip.
And Jason Mewes was there, and he said his favorite thing for it, which I've been using since, and this is probably like early 2000s. But he said, "Yo, girl, let me get up in them guts."
Oh,
that sounds like Mewes.
So Jason Mewes gave me the "Yo, girl, let me get up in them guts" thing.
There you go. All right, we got 2 more here for you.
Ooh.
Boom. What's this looking like?
Nutsack, 100%.
Is this a wrestler or is this a castle?
Dude.
I think it's a wrestler, but I can't guess who.
Hold on. I got nothing.
We're going castle.
Oh!
That's beautiful. Look at that. That's Bran Castle in Romania.
Oh, Romania.
Okay.
That's like something out of a fucking Disney movie.
Yeah, dude.
Right there.
This looks like a painting.
Any Romanian wrestlers come to mind?
Roman Reigns is
No, he is not. He is
not Romanian.
He's a Samoan. He's related to The Rock, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yokozuna as well.
I actually got offered, like, I think somebody was messaging me to like come wrestle in Romania once. And they were like, well, we got these shows. And then they like sent me matches to watch. Cause like anytime anybody says like, hey, come wrestle here, I go like, what is the place like? I want to know what kind of talent they got. I want to know what their setup looks like, because like, I don't want to be another one of your like blob dudes. Like I take a lot of pride in my appearance and like the fact that I look like a professional at what I'm doing. So I make sure I have custom made gear that only I'll have. I can't show up to a show and have other people wearing the same kind of stuff as me, because I'm not getting my gear the same place everybody else is getting their gear. I'm getting my stuff custom made to me. So it for sure has my logos on it. It has my name on it, because I can't ever run in at a show and have somebody else wearing the same stuff as me. Not only that, but I always say, as far like, I remember being at a show, and this is probably, my guess is probably like 2009 or 10. It was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And a girl said to me, how come on this show, you're the only one that's wearing tights? And I was like, because I must be the only one here who's proud of being a wrestler.
What were they wearing? Tap out shorts?
Yeah, a lot of people were wearing like basketball shorts or tap out shorts or jeans. Or and I always say, like, the weird part about it is, like, anybody can kind of say they're a wrestler, but when it comes to like the amount of effort that you put into it, when it comes to the amount of passion that you put into doing this, like, your passion doesn't only go to the fact that, like, you learned how to be a wrestler. You got to look like a wrestler too. So like, I keep my body the way it is. I keep my gear the way it is. Like, so when I get sent something and they go, hey, come work for us, I want to know if it's an environment that have people who are also into this as much as I'm into it. Because if they're not, we're all going to together make the business look bad.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
my idea is anybody who comes to my show, and I adopted this to I adapted this to comedy from pro wrestling. I feel like anybody, and for my podcast as well, anybody who's ever hearing me on the podcast or seeing me wrestle already has an idea of what it's going to be like going into it. So if they've never been to a wrestling show, they're like already, wrestling's dumb, wrestling's fake, it's bullshit, I don't like it. And then I change their mind based off of my pride I have for this, my preparation that I've gone into this with, my storytelling, all of that, the commitment that I have to it.
Yeah.
With the any podcast that I'm on, or any podcast that's my podcast that people are listening to, they're like, okay, this guy's a pro wrestler and actor, and he must be some meathead. Like, he must be some meathead, like, oh, just some muscle dude who, like, they already have their ideas of it. And then as it goes along, then maybe they're like, well, this is different than I thought it was going to be. And like, that's with anything. That's with anything at all. It's always
I mean, that's the whole don't judge a book by its cover type of thing.
Right.
I got one last one for you here. So this one's for all the biscuits. If you're ready for it.
Definitely sounds like a photo of a nutsack, but
That's an eye of a person.
It's an eye. So you're saying wrestler?
ooh.
Yeah.
It's not a castle. That's a wrestler. Maybe the best wrestler of all time, Mr. Rogers. What? How did he get in there?
You son of a bitch. He threw a switch hitter.
He's been wrestling with America's youth, trying to give them
What a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
education. Get them learning their manners, and being a good neighbor.
You never saw that episode where he
really
body slammed Hulk?
He had a really botched WCW debut.
Oh man. He fell from the rafters. My God.
The best wrestler of all time.
Oh my God. Mr. Rogers, man, still wrestling with the hearts of Americans today. Dude. Yeah.
Well, I hope you liked wrestling or wrestler or Castle.
Dude, I have to say, did you see the Tom Hanks movie where he played Mr. Rogers?
Not yet, actually. I've been meaning to see it.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's really good.
Don't.
I liked it because I'm a Mr. Rogers nerd. Stop, man. How dare you?
Awful. It is, as lots of wrestlers will say this word, and you might hear this phrase, it was the drizzling shits. And it was not about Mr. Rogers at all. It was about some guy who was a writer for Esquire magazine who happened to run into Mr. Rogers a couple of times. Like,
Yeah, true. I mean, the better thing to watch would be the documentary that came out.
Yes, the documentary's
My
amazing.
Neighbor is like a really good documentary about a guy.
The documentary is
he was a kid and grew up next to Mr. Rogers in his vacation home. So he got to see Mr. Rogers as part of his life, like we saw on TV. Wow. Like he was that dude in real life.
It would be less relatable for him to be like, it's a beautiful day in the vacation neighborhood. My vacation.
Of course, you're only there for like a month.
Dude, Mr. Rogers was catching waves on a surfboard, dude.
I mean, I heard the extended cut of the Tom Hanks version was pretty good with the 40-minute scene where he's putting his shoes on.
Oh my God.
Support for American Slacker comes from Manscaped, who's the #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
I don't know about you, Jesse, but I am sick and tired of being outmatched by these razors and traditional trimmers that you get in the store, and no matter what, they fucking snag your nuts.
That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. They have a Lawnmower 2.0 razor, which they have sent our way, has a proprietary skin-safe technology, so you won't get those nicks or snags on your nuts.
Nice! Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past.
Yeah, and with our 20% off code plus free shipping, you're going to be saving a bunch of money and getting some great products that won't end up making it look like a war zone down there.
All you got to do is enter Slackers at checkout. Manscaped.com. 20% off. Get your anti-chafing ball deodorant, your sweet Lawnmower 2.0. Your nuts will thank you later.
You can even rep them by getting yourself a Manscaped.com t-shirt. So head on over to Manscaped.com, 20% off at checkout, enter code SLACKERS.
Get your ball swag here.
Oh, yeah. We're cutting some promos here. It's time for Cory. We've given you a list. Let's pull it up again and let's list it out for the audio listeners here. But we're going to have Cory cut a promo against one of these characters that we've listed.
Yeah, we brainstormed earlier. We showed it to you. We'll show it to you and the audience here so that they can get an idea of who you might be calling out. And for the non-wrestlers among us, what exactly is this, Matt?
Dude, we're talking about a promo, the psychology of wrestling, adding the fucking salt and pepper to the whole story. All right. So we're gonna initiate a whole fucking feud between Cory and one of these 8 people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really 9 because one's a 2-for-1. But so are we listening for the people, or are we just gonna figure it out who he's?
No, I figured he could just go in. We'll surprise him with who he's calling.
I'm not even
out.
going to tell you who potentially he could be, but one of the 8 candidates Cory's about to cut a promo on.
All right, sir. Let me absolutely tell you this one thing, brother. There can only be one Bruce, and that Bruce is me. That Bruce is me. Listen here, you sellout, Bruce Willis. I saw your damn commercial. You carrying a car battery through ductwork? That's my territory. I do the ductwork. You don't do the ductwork. That's unrelatable. You ain't never seen a day of work since the 1970s, brother. I put on those boots and I stretch mofos like you all the time, dude. So, Bruce Willis, what you gonna do when Cory Kastle and the real Bruce runs wild on you?
Jesus, dude. Jesus.
Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely beautiful, dude. If you have half the passion of that wrestling, dude, you're going to be a fucking star. That is crazy.
I hope Bruce Willis is shaking in his boots right now.
Dude, he should be, dude.
Surrounded by car batteries like a protective barrier.
I'm going to say this on the record because some of these people might hear this stuff and most people probably won't. Hey, Bruce Willis. F you, dude.
Well, dude, Demi listens every week, so you better be careful.
He's our $5 patron.
Hey, Bruce Willis. I got a little message for you. Fuck you.
Oh, dude, that was wow, bro. You brought the promo over the edge. Not family friendly anymore.
Outside of the character.
Jesus.
Wow. I did read about Bruce Willis in Kevin Smith's book. I don't know if you guys have picked it up or not in the last couple hours of conversation we've been having. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. So
as are we. Oh, we love them.
So you would have thought I would have brought up Jay and Silent Bob and taken them because they were on the list. But
with Bruce instead. I actually ran into Kevin Smith one time in an airport. It was he was walking past me.
Little carts they give you.
Yeah. It just ran right into him. No, I fucking was walking past him, and of course, my fiance played it cool. Myself, as soon as I recognized him, lost all function to my body and just yelled, "Kevin Smith!"
Natural reaction.
And pointed at him. He had earbuds in, and he popped them off as he walked past me, and he was like, "Hi, like, I'm catching a fucking flight, bro." And no, he didn't say that. He was like, "How's it going? I gotta go." And I was like, I love you, or something. I don't know.
I love you.
I don't know what I muttered, but I made a complete fool of myself.
I'd probably do the same. I'm not gonna lie.
Me and my best friend Rick, the co-host of Wrestle Rock with me, him and I were we went to Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash,
nice
in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Nice. I always want to go there. Yeah.
For they did an episode of Comic Book Men where it was like they were trying to get a Guinness World Records for the most Jay and Silent Bob cosplayers.
Oh wow!
And we went to that. It was like me and my girl at the time, and him and his wife at the time, and we both were Jay and Silent Bob, and they were both Jay and Silent Bob.
Who was who though?
I was Jay, and he was Silent Bob.
Nice. Did you make it on the episode and any of the back cuts at all?
Like the far background. Like it's
okay.
Not
comic book, man. I love those guys.
It's on my IMDb credits because
listen to their podcast. Honestly,
you're not gonna not put it on your IMDb credits if you were there and have an IMDb page,
dude. Right? Why not, dude? You were lingering somewhere in there in the background distance.
And look
at that hunky guy, bro. Look at that. Who's that? Oh, that's Cory fucking Kastle, bro.
Cory
the Evolution Kastle.
I made a friend there, man. I met this dude, Zach, real badass dude. We went to some concerts together and stuff. Stay open to meeting friends. It's funny, dude. Man. And I hope, I hope that some of this stuff resonates a little bit more and kind of goes inside. Like you can take some of these lessons and use them for yourself, apply them to yourself. And even if it's to the point where you completely say it word for word, what I say, as long as you take the real message out of it. Like I always say, when I was a kid, the first thing I ever wanted to be when I was a kid was a comedian. I always wanted to be a comedian, and I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I wanted to be a podcaster yet because that didn't exist yet. Now, this is why I say you don't always know what you want until what you want finds you. Mm. But you it's not going to find you if you don't, you know what I mean? If you don't know, if you don't find you first.
Yeah.
If you don't find you first, what you're looking for and what you want won't find you first.
It's definitely a good lesson to leave the show on here.
Dude.
Are there any plugs that you want to do? I know we got shows and Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff.
Just follow me on social media. I have a thing going where you know my girlfriend Carly Gwynn. She gives me a hard time for not posting enough on Instagram. So I've said every day in December, I'm going to actually post something because I would go weeks without posting anything. Same thing I was saying to you earlier was like, I don't want to have to do all these extra steps.
Yep.
Like I want people to kind of digest what I'm saying without me having to like sugarcoat it and like
force it
water down the sincerity of it. So when it comes to like plugs and things like that, I kind of feel like there's a little bit of insincerity to it, and I don't like that. So every day in December, I'm posting a new picture of myself.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Nice, man.
On my Instagram, which is at Cory Kastle, CoryKastle, and on Twitter, you can follow me for tons of stupid jokes and goofness. And honestly, I think staying genuine in what your message is really like stay exactly who you are. Side on compassion and kindness and love and getting the absolute best out of something. Like I feel like anything that's in opposed to kindness and love and understanding and acceptance is like something maybe you should dissect it or like kind of zoom out of it and be like, there's a lot of hate here. Like hate shouldn't be here. Even if you go like, oh, hate has no home here, on a sign on your front step that says hate has no home here. And then you go, I hate Republicans. I hate Donald Trump. Like, you're doing exactly what you're saying you don't do. So be big enough in who you are to zoom out of it and have it be like, oh, maybe it's not as black and white as I thought it was. Maybe it's not as dualistic. There is more than just two ways to do everything. It's funny, like everything, like all religions, like all over the world, religions, there's always been a trinity. There's always been three things. So when you go, oh, this is wrong, this is right, well, there's something right in the middle there that we're forgetting about. So open yourself up to finding what that third way is, that middle way. Find out that, you might not be all the way right. You might not want to die on a hill for something that maybe isn't all the way right.
Words of wisdom, power, and love from Cory Kastle, man. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. This has been fucking glorious. Love your perspectives, man. We'll definitely do this again. And real quick before we get out of here, don't forget to subscribe to that Patreon if you're fucking curious for a little more Cory Kastle on the pod. Check me out, MWG Media on Instagram, and Matty G from HP on Xbox Live. I forgot my tag for a second. I guess I haven't, but still catch these goddamn mittens, please. And I'm at everything on Landers the Plane. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, man. Take care.
Love you, dude. Till next time. That's it.
Much love. Much love.
There you go.
We smoking America. We passing America. I'm mapping America. I'm second America. We talking America. We blazing America. This is fucking America. We're second America.
This has been American Slacker Podcast. You can reach the show by searching American Slacker on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit, or send them an email to americanslackerpodcast@gmail.com. You can download and rate American Slacker on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and all other podcast platforms. Visit the show's website, aspodcast.com, where you will find every episode, official merchandise, and links to their Patreon if you would like to support American Slacker.
We smoking America.